Hey everybody, just got back to my classroom after our meeting today, and because of the lack of time, I wasn't able to actually get to some of the demonstration about Google Slides. So here are some tips if you would like to be able to start using Google Slides instead of PowerPoint. So, not interested. If this is not of an interest to you yet, feel free to to skip ahead or not watch it. But I'm just going to walk you through a couple steps here. So the first one is a slides shortcut. So watch what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to I'm going to type in, go to Google, I'm going to type in Google Slides. And what that's going to do is here's these different links. Now what I like about this, because I can go directly to Google Drive itself, that's going to show me all of my files, documents, presentations. But if I just go to the Google presentation link, that's going to look like this here. And notice what this looks like here. This is a list of all my presentations, and they're chronologically. So the most recent ones will be on top, and the more that I scroll down, the farther back in time. It's showing me in a thumbnail view, and you can see it says open March 26th, open March 25th, open March 24th. So it goes back in time. I can switch that to a list view up here in the upper right-hand corner. And that shows you what I opened up today, what I did 30 days ago, and so forth. So what I like about here is that this gives me just a direct link to the presentations and the files that are only slides. So that's one thing. Now, how do I can get here in the future? Well, what I do is I'll just take this particular link across the top. If I grab this handle, that little icon next to it, if I pull that down, I can make this a shortcut onto my bookmark bar up here, and I already have it located, but if you can see, I'll put it right there. Now direct link to just all my Google presentations. Let me delete that one. So you can see what I have here is here's a direct link to my slides, to my documents, and to my Google spreadsheets. So if I click on this quick link, bam, takes me directly to all my Google Docs. And again, same thing as well. They open up in chronological order. There's that document I talked to you guys about, the can I use that, and so forth. Okay. That's my first tip. Second tip is, let me open up a brand new presentation for us. Actually, let's do it the other way. Let's open up the presentation that we saw today and show you about revisions and such. So here's the presentation from today. I'm going to click on Breaking Up with PowerPoint. Now let's say I mentioned to you that you can have a copy of this. Although this is my presentation, anytime you have a Google presentation open, you can make a copy of it. Now you have to do it from within the program itself. So if I'm here, if I want a copy of it, I would go to File and then go down to Make a Copy. It's going to say, what do you want this new name of a document to be? So if I find anybody's on the web, like I showed you that link, I can go there and then title this to whatever I want. I can call this OD's PowerPoint notes or whatever I want. Now that's going to have a whole separate one presentation with that separate name on there. And so that's a nice way to be able to take anybody's, and now you have your own copy, because you can't necessarily be sure that everyone's going to be able to keep their copy out there. Also be aware of too, this is when you under the File button, I can also go to this thing called Revision History. This is a neat tool, because since Google is always saving, and you can see up here it says last edit was an hour ago. That was the last time I edited this thing. It goes back in time and shows when all my previous edits were. So it is always saving, but it also allows you to go back in time to all your previous saves as well. And so that definitely allows you to realize that you won't necessarily lose your documents in the future. Okay, let me open up a new slide here. Let's do tip number 3. I'm going to go to Insert. Close the revision history here. I'm going to insert a new slide. Great. And I'm going to talk about images here. Since I talked about that visual literacy and how can ultimately be able to grab images, let me show you what that would look like. I'm going to go to Google here and search for something. Let's go to Google Images. And now I'm going to search my images. I'm going to type in Ladybug. Now, across the top, remember what I mentioned? This is where I can go to Search Tools, and under Search Tools, here's that usage rights. Now I can say, what rights do I want to be able to use? I want ladybugs that are labeled for reuse, and I can change them. Reuse, just reuse, but leave it the same. And if I can make money on it, the one that I would definitely, the most rigid of them is this top one, labeled for reuse, and I can edit and modify it. I'll show you what modification means. So if I click on that one, now it's going to give me a different set of images. And if I click on any of them, let's take this particular guy right here. Now I know this one because it had that rights usage is available for me to use. I'm going to right click and copy that picture. Go back to my Google presentation. I'm going to right click and go paste. And I think we're all familiar with the copy and pasting, but that's how we can put images directly within our presentations. Sometimes, if you notice, it may lock up and freeze on you if you put very large images. The answer that I have done is if I close the presentation and bring it back up, it'll allow me to, because I can see this is a relatively large ladybug picture. I'm going to grab the handles on this, bring it down so I can also make it fit into my window. There we go. So now I have the ladybug picture on here. If I click on the picture twice, watch what happens to the handles over here. Clicking once brings up the handles, but if I double click it, oh, here comes a new one. It turns into these. This is the crop feature. So I can pull it down and in, and look what happens. This transparent image shows the things that will be now cropped out of it. When I click outside, there it goes. Double click it again. Let's say I want to crop this out down here. If I want to isolate just the ladybug, and click out. So now there is a cropped version. Now, when I search under Google Images to allow revision, that's what we're talking about. It's allowed me to change that. If I click on the picture, I had this button over here, Reset Image, takes it back to the original one. There's also more things I can do to this. Like here's the crop button itself. I can crop based on a shape. Let's say I want to crop this as a circle. How about that circle? Nice. And click on it. I can move the picture, and I can even change things. Let's say, look at the line color. I want to put let's put a red line on that. I want to make that red line a very thick border on that. Nice. And that's how I can start to be able to really kind of modify and change pictures to ultimately make it fit. I even can go one step further in pictures. I can go over here to Image Options. Now allows me to recolor it, to change the transparency or how much I can see through it, brightness and contrast, and then here's all the recolor, basically your filters and such. So there's like a red hue on that one, or if I wanted to make it black and white, grayscale, and that's images there. Okay, all right, that is that. Let's move to the next tip. That's YouTube searches. So I'm going to go to YouTube, and let's find a video. The YouTube video is so simple and easy, and most of you have probably done this already. Let's type in cell division. Find a video about cell division. Here we go, mitosis. As this video begins to play, all I need from that is the link here. So if I copy that particular YouTube link, and I go over here to my presentation, let me get rid of Mr. Ladybug. If I go to Insert Video, it gives me two choices. I can directly search from within the program itself. I can just go to search, or I can copy the website or the URL. Pasting it right there now puts that directly embedded. This is one of the really nice features that allows for Google presentations to what I think really sort of surpasses the PowerPoint, is because now I have that embedded video. No matter where this presentation goes, who I share it with, that video is always now there. So when I go to the present mode and I hit play, there's that mitosis video. So that's been a struggle I've always had for a long time, is about how to be able to get videos into my presentations. Next, I want to talk about the master. Master something interesting is like going back here, here's my presentation that I have, and so like on this link here I have the logo of Google Slides, and I have the Google color scheme across the top, which is red, blue, green, and yellow. And I actually made this master. I made that particular background, and you can go in and change backgrounds, and I think you may be familiar with, like, hey, I can right click, I can go to change background, change my color, let's say, and I click done, and look what happens. I have that red on there, but here's still that logo. How can I get rid of that? Well, that's because I changed what's actually called the master. I'm going to undo that. So if I go to view and master, this is an interesting way to be able to create your own designs. So now what this is this is all the stuff that's behind that you can't touch when you're directly within the slide, the master. And here's the layouts. So you can see like what it looks like for a title slide or a bulleted list slide. So if I go back to the very master, look at this. Now I can click on this logo. I had found that logo on the web, copy and pasted it, made it smaller. But let's say if I want to make it that big, and I want to be able to make the title look like that, and maybe make this one over here much larger, then what do you think that's going to happen? When I get out of this view, it's going to do this to every single slide. Okay? Let me move this down a little bit more. Here we go. Now, all I have to do is close the master right here. Now look at here, on every presentation, on every slide, here is my changed background because I changed the master. So this is a nice way if you want to be able to have one common theme throughout your entire presentation. And this works the same in in Microsoft PowerPoint as well. So that is the master. Next tool. Let me go back here. All right, undid all that. All right, my next tool is going to be, I'm going to insert a new slide here again. No, we're going to start brand new. Watch this. I'm going to go to File, New Presentation. So here's a brand new one because I don't know about a lot of you guys, but like I mentioned, I had a lot of PowerPoints in my life. So PowerPoint and Google, you can use the two together. I can import my existing presentations into Google Slides. If I go to File, Open, it's going to allow me to search all of mine, but look at over here. These are the ones I've already done, but I can go all the way over to Upload. Now, Upload's going to say, hey, why don't you go find one from your My Documents, go find a presentation. I'm going to go to my Documents over here. Let's go find a presentation I've done in the past. And I'm going to click on this one called Teacher Stuff. I'm going to upload that. And now what it's doing is it's going to be upload this presentation, and it's going to keep it as a Microsoft PowerPoint so I can come back and edit it in the future. Which is nice, is that I can use Google Slides to open up PowerPoints. My recommendation, though, is that I would definitely migrate everything over to Google Slides themselves. So here's this old presentation I did years ago at a staff meeting, and it looks like Google Slides. Now, it's a little bit different. Like, did I originally do it where you can barely see this stuff over here? No, it had changed a little bit, because you notice when you upload things to when you upload PowerPoints, you're going to lose some of the design. And so in the end, I may want to be able to redo this. So does that mean I may want to go into here and change the background, let's say? Let's change the background like blue. All right, that's a little bit better, but I can still doesn't show up real well. And so what I ultimately have decided is I open these files up in PowerPoint themselves and copy and paste the information that I want, basically like spring cleaning, because I think that if I'm just going to upload my old stuff, there's probably going to need some updates as well with it. So like I said, my recommendation is have PowerPoint open, have a brand new Google Slide file open, and just copy and paste the stuff that you want and kind of start over if you would. But if you want, like I said, you can definitely bring these over, but you will experience some formatting issues as you migrate over. Let me close that one. And the last piece is sharing. And there's two different ways to share. I think we showed this one already when I talked about embedding. First one is I can go to File, Share. That's going to give me this link. That link right here is what I'm ultimately going to share with people. Now, who do I want to do this to? This is where you need to be aware of. Who do I want to be able to share this with? People at Rockland Unified can edit my page, this whole thing, or they can view it, or they can leave comments on it. I like going to more to show all the different choices. I like to put my stuff public on the web so that anybody can see them and view them, because I've had issues in the past of kids and people telling me like, hey, that link didn't work. So I always usually default to public on the web. Now that does make it open for people who want to search for it, like I showed you in the staff meeting. I'm relatively fine with people taking my stuff. That's all right. But that's my particular choice. Or if you want, you can do specific people. If you got your PLC group, and let's just say all of the geometry teachers are working together, they can be able to say only share it with those particular people, and you can type in those. But I like saying public on the web. Click OK. Now it says get that shareable link. If I click copy right there, it says the link has now been copied to the clipboard. Now I can paste that in an email, share that with my students on Schoology, something like that. That would give the direct link. The other option is I can do to, if I go to publish to the web, that was the one I showed before. Now I can say, hey, here's the direct link. Now this is a document that they won't be able to necessarily view. Let me show you what this would look like. If I copy this here, I'm going to open up a new tab. When I paste this link, watch what happens. Here's my presentation, but it's much larger because this is the people are only getting this as a slideshow that is being viewed. They don't see the part that's being edited. So they would go from one slide to the next. Any animations that go in here would automatically go with it. So like, look at this. There's my animation. There's an animation. There's an animation, a transition. I like sharing this one with my students because I just want them to be able to see the presentation as is. I can go back into here and I can either make it the link or the embed. And the embed code was this big long one that I showed in that previous video. Copy and paste that. That would put it directly within that Schoology page that we showed last time. And so that is how the difference. This is a publishing option, and the first version was a way to be able to share. So I know this was kind of a lot of stuff. I hope it was able to be helpful for some of you. As usual, if you got any questions or comments, feel free to shoot me a message and I'll help you out. Thanks, everybody.